All right, the Omni Channel is our final chapter. We have turned around, come back again, all the way to the beginning. And the Omni Channel has been the brave new world in channels. When I was getting my doctorate degree in 2008, 2009, I remember I had 25 years of retailing and I really desired to be able to specialize in channels. At that time, however, place was not one of the desired 4 Ps, consumer behavior was. It was interesting because I did a search on the AMA website to see how many times you could find the word place or channels listed, and it was ranked 247 out of all of the search things on the Atlantic Marketing or the American Marketing Association website. And now the Omni Channel came along and the world has changed forever. The Omni Channel is the last of the 4 Ps, channels is the last of the 4 Ps, or place. And it finally has a place among the 4 Ps, pun intended. Why? Because of this miracle little device with us that we have that's called a cell phone, because it gave us the mobility, online mobility we needed to pull all of these advantages together at one time. I would like to think that we came up with some kind of grand vision, but the truth is, like all great evolutions, it came from the bottom up from consumers, and we just kind of hang on and ran with it as it came along. So this last discussion on the Omni Channel is going to round things out and kind of tie all of the chords together. So let us go to our discussion of the Omni Channel, and we will start by going right to the definition. What do we mean by the Omni Channel? So the Omni Channel as we discuss it, as we talk about it, is this definition right here. The Omni Channel, this long statement, is the integration of a customer's ability to research, communicate, engage with, and consume a brand, because it is both a tangible and an intangible consumption, through a seamless customer experience across online, physical, mobile, and communications channels. And I find this last statement kind of interesting, and it makes managing those channels in tandem, which means together, that's what tandem means, difficult. And so, as one of the great liberators and one of the great changes of all times, unfortunately, as with everything, the good comes with the bad, and the good is pretty good and the bad is pretty difficult, all right? So the worst part, or the most difficult part of this discussion here, is this concept of what we call is the seamless integration. So the difficulty with channels in general, especially, is that if you consider all of the channels, whether you're talking about retail, online, bricks and clicks, every kind of permutation that you can think of, the difficulty is that all of the channels tend to act disjointedly, that they're not really, talking at the same level. And so an example is T-Mobile. So T-Mobile, as of the making of this book, it may have changed by now. T-Mobile, if you were to wish to upgrade your phone, if you do it online, it comes without a service fee. If you don't, or you go in directly into the store, you're charged a $20 service fee to do it in-house. Now, the difficulty with that is, it encourages individual channels to act in their own self-interest. So in other words, if there's not a seamless integration all the way down, it means that in essence, everybody acts in their own way to make themselves do the best that, or to achieve better instead of a seamless environment. An example of when it works is Levi Strauss. So Levi Strauss, their website and company-owned stores act in conjunction with their partnerships with JCPenney and Macy's and Kohl's. And so what that means is that through the management of the orders that are done online, as well as the managed orders that are done in store, usually tracking through credit card information, they go do the hard things, and they make sure that that information, both when it's gathered in the stores and then gathered online for purchases, comes together, and it creates this rich data information about what consumers want, and ultimately they engage the consumer in a seamless fashion so that they produce a good, rich idea of the consumers that they have and their particular buying habits. I think one of the best, in my assumption, is you find the Marriott and the Hilton hotels. I think they do an outstanding job of being able to integrate the channels together because they're very closely associated to the touch points. And so when you go into their hotel systems, just about every interaction that you have within the system is recorded. So I'll give you an example of this kind of thing. So my wife always buys water whenever she goes into our, like to a hotel or a Marriott hotel. We were at a Marriott in Birmingham, and we love Embassy Suites for one big reason, is that it gives us 2 rooms and we have 2 daughters. So Embassy Suites, the one in Birmingham, when she came in, there was a half dozen bottles of water there, and it said compliments of the management. Now, you have no idea how that paid off when it came to satisfaction and enjoyment from my wife. But those are the kinds of things that require a seamless integration of information. It was carried from one hotel to another, and so now it's across the environment. And that is why the Omni Channel is needed and why it's so successful. Now, you're going to find some very interesting stores that are out there, and it has to do with the challenges that are faced with stores. So here's an example. I'm not sure if any of you knew, but Mass General Store has an online store in itself. And when you're trying to create the Omni Channel, you must have a fully integrated experience from the physical sites that you have all the way to the online experience. But the problem is that you're talking about 2 different markets. So the Mass General Store has what's called a trading area. The trading area covers a certain amount of mileage in and around the store itself, which is considers to be the area where individuals will drive ultimately to go to the Mass store. Now, the Mass store is a little bit unique too. If any of you have not been to it, is the Mass stores have more than just standard gears you see here, but they also have food and other things. If you go to Valley Cruises and go to their stores, you'll see what I mean. However, the online experience is quite different. The online experience requires all of these particular items that they can sell, and the competitor lists that they sell from are much different. And so instead of just merely whoever is in the given trade area, you're going to have a lot more that you're going to deal with. Now, the other difficulty with this is, I'm not sure, but for those of you who have not seen this, some of you just might be surprised that Mass Store has a online e-commerce site. I'm not sure that any of you knew that. Well, that's one of the difficulties with stores, is that stores have to make a general investment for consumers to be able to realize that they actually exist. And so there's an education process that's required for brick and click stores so that they can be noticed, because many times they're often ignored by customers. Online stores, ironically, there is a high cost of acquisition when it comes to being able to grab customers. Now, it sounds silly when you think about it with a online websites like Amazon, but the truth is, if you think about it, the internet with its unknown billions of business, well, I wouldn't say billions, but millions of businesses that are online, it's very easy to get lost in the crowd. Once you get past Amazon and Etsy, a few of the others, Best Buys, those, you're in essence getting into a very kind of rocky area. It costs a lot to attract individuals online because, quite simply, online is so polluted with online stores. Now, what is the answer for that? Well, some, ironically, have gone out and actually opened physical stores in order to be able to fight this perception. And so, just to give you an example, the interesting thing about Amazon is that Amazon has been in a buying spree. When you got lots of money, why not? But Amazon has had acquisitions, and of course, the most recent acquisition, I don't know if you knew, was they bought MGM. Now, it might surprise you to see that they have bought that, but if you notice, the very first thing that they bought is Whole Foods, and they bought that in 2017. And it might seem kind of an odd match, and in all truth, it was. It was not an ideal love match between each other. The corporate environment at Whole Foods is so fundamentally different than the corporate environment at Amazon. It was, I would think might want to call it a shotgun marriage. It didn't work very well. And although they're working together now, it took Amazon something of a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow to adjust. And by the very same token, Whole Foods had to adjust as well. How well is it going? I can't tell you. I don't know that. But it was an interesting acquisition for Amazon, and it has been one that has reflected in their corporate culture. But I think ultimately, when you're going to look at this acquisition list within the next 5 years, I think you probably will see a department store like Kohl's or one of those corporations that eventually Amazon will buy. I really think they need a presence there, because a presence would be very valuable to them. Yeah, they bought MGM for $8.5 billion. Not surprising. They were looking to get that. If you think of it, they wanted to get the film library of MGM, which is just target rich for Amazon Prime. You'll also see that they must have come up with some great agreement with Turner Video, because Turner owned the studio, the MGM. So there must have been something that happened between them. So I would expect within the next 3 to 5 years that you'll see this retailer here, because it's just simpler, or let's just say it's a better experience for Amazon, and it will help them, all right? Because as long as they will be only an online store, they will be missing a fundamental thing that Walmart has over them. And what might that be? And should retailers' target be the same online as it is online? And the answer is no, not necessarily. So the online presence of a mass general store allows those physical stores to target outside of their given trade area. But what it also means is that you're coming under the purview of different individuals. And so if you are in a franchise environment, one of the things that you're going to relate to is that you're going up against other franchises, and that it violates something of the franchise agreement. It depends on whether it's a business format franchise or whether it's a trade name franchise. So when Mass General Store sells inside their stores, their competition is the retail trade area in Watauga County. When Mass General Store is online, their competition is everyone else worldwide. Let's translate this now and talk about the retailers Amazon, and we'll talk about Walmart and Target and Best Buy. Now, each one of those is a competition with each other, especially in the form of electronics. And let me give you an example. So when I was searching for my television, I was looking for the best price and I knew the item that I wanted. And so I searched Amazon, I searched Walmart, Target, Best Buy, Egghead, which is another online place that sells electronic equipment. And I look for the best price for that particular model. Now, the difference had to do with the channels that they were able to provide for me. If I bought from Amazon, the only place that I could find retribution if something were to go wrong, where I would probably have to wrap that TV up and ship it back in one way or another. If I bought from Walmart, or I bought from Target, or I bought from Best Buy, I have those retail outlets in which I can return the equipment and get a replacement. And of those, in my own personal opinion, Walmart is the best, because I think Walmart has one of the best return policies you could possibly imagine. As long as you maintain and hold, well, you don't even really need your slip, but it sure helps if you maintain your payment slip. When you go into an Amazon, when you go into a Walmart, you return the piece of equipment and they will either credit back your credit card or they will pay you cash. And I think that is brilliant on Walmart's part, because it puts money in individuals' hands. And so in terms of targeting the same online and offline, quite simply, you can't. The image of the online presence may not match a physical store. And the other part of that also is that the physical store may provide advantages that a strictly online presence can't do. And though Amazon sells many, many things online, no doubt about it, what you get with a Walmart is you get 4,500 locations in the United States in case something goes wrong. It doesn't mean there's a repair individual there, but there's someone there to listen to the issues that you have. And so these are the differences between them. And the answer, should a retailer's target be the same online and offline? The answer is surely no. But it also means is that if you are targeting individuals online versus offline, you certainly have much greater competition. Now, the urge will be that if you're in competition with the same products online and you're trying to sell those goods, and there's another retailer who sells less expensive online, the urge is to match that price. And if you do that, then you engage in the issues that T-Mobile had, where you have a disjointed kind of price system. So you've got to be careful with that. Above all things, in omni-channel, it has to be a seamless experience, backwards and forwards. Now, also, what you need to be able to do is to make sure that if you're a manufacturer, that you are part of the omni-channel experience, but you maintain yourself and you work through your downstream partners to maintain that unique, or let's just say that special place. Now, the urge for a manufacturer to be able to sell their goods might get you to build your own stores. One of the best at this is Broyhill. So Broyhill has had a presence in North Carolina as long as I can remember. I have friends that in the 70s came to North Carolina to buy their furniture and had that furniture shipped back to them. I had one of my students who had who was part of a company, and they were a furniture outlet dealership between Lenore and Hickory, and yearly they had 2 shipments go to Florida every year. So they have that. Now Broyhill has been able to manage factory stores, their own company stores, and retail outlets at the same time. And one of the ways that they are the way that they can do that is their willingness to help partner with the local stores to be able to succeed. They've also partnered with Big Lots. So you can go into a Big Lot now. If you go in, you'll see Broyhill furniture there. All of this has to contribute to the customer journey. Now, what you find on most manufacturing sites is they won't necessarily sell them online, but they might sell them in company stores. As a matter of fact, few corporations really want to sell online, all right? Probably one of the best examples of this of a corporation that would prefer you strictly go to the retailers probably without a doubt would be Steel Tools. So Steel Tools is one of those things that I do a lot of discussion with my graduate students, and I give them a case on steel. And their job with steel is to determine whether or not to expand, because you find competition equipment in home improvement centers like Lowe's. And so what they say is currently right now, Steel Tools has a independent dealership network of some 15,000 stores in the United States. It's pretty big. Of those, 8,000 of those are sold steel distributors, which means that they do not sell anything else. Now, if you were to go to Steel's website, which you see here, and you notice this is their chainsaw, the MS-250, and you look at it, it gives you all the detailed information. And if you look over to the right, the option, it says something that says, contact us for price, not available for online checkout. If you notice below that, it says currently shopping at Farmers Rentals and Power Equipment, and a phone number, and you can change the dealer. Now that's really, really interesting when you think about it. In essence, what they consider to be acceptable in the omni-channel experience is that they do not want to sell you directly online, but provide you with information. And for you, if you wish to purchase the good, to go to a store and buy it there. One of the reasons why is not only to maintain good channel relationships with their retailers, and they want to perform the full omni-channel experience, but they only want to do their particular job. And so why? Well, what it comes down to is you don't have to look past the things that they sell to give you a good reason why they want them to be sold in person. Because have any of you ever held a chainsaw in your hands? Have you ever started one? Have you ever gassed one up? Have you ever put oil in one? It is an experience. And if you don't grab the right end, it could be a world of hurt. So one of the things that a steel dealership will do for you is that if it requires installation, they will install it. They'll show you how to put the gas in. They'll show you how to put the oil in. They'll show you the right way to grip it. They'll show you the right way to start it. They'll show you the right way to turn it off. They'll do all of those things for you. And that is a much greater advantage to steel than you trying to learn by yourself if they were to send it to you themselves. They are dedicated in their own dealer network to the extent that if you wanted to, the manufacturers will build a store in the store. So what this means is that an independent dealership of steel, generally what you find is you'll find a location. If it is a multi-product dealership that has more than just steel, you'll find a special section that is dedicated just to steel tools itself. And they will go so far is that if you wish to expand in your store, they will fund up to 30% of the price of that expansion, especially if it's related to their products, which generally is. They're very firm believers in their dedications to their retailers. They work hard at it, and in my view, they're the best in the business. And it also shows you that can be success in a omni-channel environment with a seamless integration for the customer experience, but it doesn't mean that the consumer has to have one channel only. And that is kind of the blessing of the steel. They will do everything that you need in terms of support. They'll give you everything you need to know about safety manuals. They do an enormous job, but they believe that the seamless experience occurs when you can go in and get the factual information for yourself. That's what they consider to be success. And so I give them a lot of credit. I do. I think they are an outstanding brand. I think they provide the omni-channel experience. And I think they do that in such a way that consumers are happy and come back again and again and again. All right. So remember this, manufacturers must build retail partnerships while they're expanding their direct connection to their consumers. It's a very delicate balance. And hopefully what they can do is find a balance like steel can. Okay, we are going to finish this piece of the Omni Channel. That will be the last of it for this week. Next week, as I've said before, there will be no recordings. Remember that on Thursday, it is position paper 4. I need dropped in the Dropbox, just one person per group. When we come back, we'll have our last day, I believe it's the 25th on Tuesday, and we will finish discussing about the Omni Channel. And I have had requests from several people that I do a discussion on blockchains and NFTs. And so I will do that as well Tuesday week. All right. Well, I hope you all have a great Easter. Be safe. Come back. I'll see you in a week and a half. Take care.